The Trump administration is exploring the potential appointment of Kyle Bass, a well-known hedge fund manager and vocal critic of China, for a prominent position within either the Treasury or Defense Department. This consideration comes amid heightened tensions between the United States and China, marking a significant moment in the administration's foreign policy strategy. Profile of Kyle Bass. Kyle Bass is a prominent figure in the finance world, particularly recognized for his investment strategies and market predictions. He gained fame for his successful bets against the housing market prior to the 2008 financial crisis, which positioned him as a leading voice in economic analysis and investment strategy. In recent years, Bass has become increasingly vocal about his concerns regarding China's economic practices, including issues such as intellectual property theft, currency manipulation, and aggressive geopolitical maneuvers. Bass's reputation as a China hawk is well established. He has advocated for policies that aim to counter Chinese influence both economically and politically. His views align closely with a more confrontational approach towards China, making him a potentially influential figure in shaping U.S. policy in this area. Administration's direction. The consideration of Bass for a role within the Treasury or Defense Department signals the Trump administration's ongoing pivot towards a more aggressive stance on China. This aligns with the broader strategy of prioritizing national security concerns and economic competitiveness in global affairs, which has been a hallmark of Trump's foreign policy agenda. The potential appointment reflects a commitment to addressing what the administration views as the challenges posed by China's rise. By placing a figure like Bass in a significant position, the administration may seek to reinforce its stance on issues such as trade, national security, and economic sanctions against China. Common themes. Various sources reporting on this development emphasize Bass's qualifications as a hedge fund veteran and his alignment with the administration's hawkish views on China. His financial background and outspoken criticisms of China's practices suggest that he could play a pivotal role in influencing policy decisions related to national security and economic strategy. The discussions surrounding Bass's potential appointment have generated significant media attention, with coverage reflecting a general consensus on his suitability for such positions. His close ties to the administration's interests and his expertise in finance position him as a key player in future policy discussions. Differences in coverage. While Bloomberg provided a direct report on the administration's considerations regarding Bass, Yahoo's coverage took a deeper dive into his financial background and previous criticisms of China. This highlighted the potential implications of his appointment for U.S.-China relations. Additionally, Bloomberg Markets shared a succinct tweet that summarized the news, focusing on the implications of Bass's possible role without extensive background information. Timeline of events. January 2025, reports surface indicating that the Trump administration is actively considering Kyle Bass for a role within either the Treasury or Defense Departments. This follows ongoing tensions between the U.S. and China, a central theme of Trump's foreign policy initiatives. Conclusion. The potential appointment of Kyle Bass reflects the Trump administration's strategic focus on addressing the challenges posed by China. His experience in finance, coupled with his hardline views on national security and economic policy, could significantly shape U.S. strategies moving forward. This consideration underscores a continuation of the administration's confrontational approach towards Beijing, emphasizing the importance of economic and national security in shaping future U.S. policies. The developments surrounding Bass's candidacy will likely be closely monitored as they unfold, given their potential impact on U.S.-China relations and broader geopolitical dynamics. The consideration of Kyle Bass for a significant role in the Trump administration highlights a range of counterintuitive aspects regarding political appointments and the intersection of finance and national security. Here are several points of counterintuitive information relevant to the topic. 1. Hedge fund manager. As a policymaker, it is not common for hedge fund managers, typically seen as private sector financiers focused on profit maximization, to transition into high-level government positions that involve crafting national policy. Base's potential appointment suggests a blending of financial acumen with public governance, challenging the traditional separation between private financial interests and public policymaking. 2. China hawk in the Treasury or defense. The expectation that a hedge fund manager, especially one with a hawkish stance on China, could effectively serve in either the Treasury or Defense Department is striking. Typically, these roles require a nuanced understanding of both economic and geopolitical dynamics, which may not align with the often aggressive profit-driven mindset of hedge fund management. 3. The role of financial expertise in national security. The idea that financial expertise can translate directly into national security policy is counterintuitive. While financial markets and national security intersect, the skills needed to manage investments do not necessarily equip an individual to navigate the complexities of international relations or defense strategy. This raises questions about the qualifications necessary for such positions and how they are evaluated. 4. Public sentiment versus expert opinion. While many financial experts may support a hardline approach to China, public sentiment can be more nuanced, with significant portions of the population advocating for diplomatic engagement rather than confrontation. The appointment of a figure like Base might not align with broader public opinion, suggesting a disconnect between elite financial perspectives and the views of the average citizen. 5. Impact of past financial success on political credibility. Kyle Base is well known for his successful short sale during the 2008 financial crisis, which earned him a significant reputation. However, the reliance on past financial success as a metric for political capability is counterintuitive, as financial markets and political environments operate under different rules and pressures. His financial success does not inherently qualify him to make complex geopolitical decisions. 6. Potential backlash against a hawkish stance. The Trump administration's consideration of Base could provoke backlash from various sectors, including those advocating for more cooperative international relations. The idea that a hawkish figure could be appointed during a time when many are calling for reduced tensions with China suggests a counterintuitive approach to diplomacy and international relations, which typically favors dialogue over confrontation. 7. The role of economic policy in defense strategy. The notion that economic policy could drive defense strategy is an emerging theme that challenges traditional views. Typically, defense policy is seen as a separate domain, but the intertwining of economic sanctions and military strategy reflects a shift in how national security is conceptualized, which may not be universally accepted or understood. 8. Hedge fund influence on government policy. The increasing influence of hedge fund managers like Base in governmental roles raises concerns about the potential for conflicts of interest. The idea that individuals whose primary goal is profit maximization could shape policy raises ethical questions about the motivations behind such appointments and their implications for public interest. 9. Public versus private sector dynamics. The transition from the private sector to government, especially for someone like Base, may signify a broader trend of valuing business experience over traditional public service backgrounds in political appointments. This shift could undermine the importance of public service experience, which historically equipped individuals with the necessary skills and perspectives to navigate government challenges. 10. Long-term implications of appointments. The short-term political gains from appointing a figure like Base may overshadow long-term consequences, including potential instability in U.S.-China relations. The counterintuitive notion that immediate political objectives such as appeasing a hardline faction could lead to detrimental long-term outcomes is a crucial aspect to consider in evaluating the implications of such appointments. In summary, the potential appointment of Kyle Base as a significant figure in the Trump administration raises numerous counterintuitive considerations that challenge traditional notions of governance, the role of financial experts in public service, and the complexities of national security policy. These elements underscore the evolving landscape of political appointments and their broader implications. The report on the Trump administration's consideration of Kyle Base for a position within the Treasury or Defense Department carries several layers of significance that many may overlook. 1. Base's investment philosophy and experience. While many will focus on Base's reputation as a China hawk, it is essential to recognize how his investment philosophy could translate into policymaking. Base is known for his ability to identify financial trends and market anomalies. His bearish stance on the housing market before the 2008 financial crisis demonstrated not just foresight but also a willingness to challenge prevailing narratives. This perspective could be crucial in shaping U.S. economic policies, especially in areas related to trade and foreign investment. His experience in hedge funds implies a deep understanding of global markets, which could lead to more strategic financial decisions that prioritize U.S. interests. 2. National security implications. Base's potential role in the Defense Department is particularly noteworthy. His vocal criticisms of China's geopolitical strategies indicate a readiness to address national security issues through a financial lens. Most discussions around national security focus on military readiness or diplomacy. But economic strength is a critical component of national defense. By having someone like Base in a position of influence, there could be a shift toward policies that leverage economic tools such as sanctions or trade restrictions to counteract threats from China. This approach could redefine how the U.S. engages with adversaries, moving beyond traditional military strategies. 3. The continuity of hawkish policies. The consideration of Base signifies a continuation of the Trump administration's hawkish stance on China, which has been a hallmark of its foreign policy. While many may view this as a mere personnel decision, it reflects broader ideological commitments that could have lasting implications. The consistency in leadership appointments that align with a confrontational approach toward China suggests that such policies may endure beyond individual presidents, influencing U.S.-China relations for years to come. This could lead to a more entrenched adversarial relationship, shaping global economic dynamics. 4. Economic sanctions and trade policy. The report indicates that Base could influence trade and economic sanctions against China. While these areas are often discussed in terms of tariffs or trade deficits, the significance lies in the strategic implementation of sanctions. Base's investment background might provide him with unique insights into how economic sanctions can be structured to maximize their impact. His understanding of global financial systems could lead to innovative approaches that enhance the effectiveness of U.S. sanctions, potentially altering the economic landscape in favor of the U.S. and its allies. 5. Perception and public opinion. Another overlooked aspect is the public and international perception of U.S. leadership under someone like Base. His outspoken nature could polarize opinions both domestically and internationally. While some may view him as a strong leader who will protect American interests, others may see him as an instigator of conflict. This duality can affect how allies and adversaries perceive U.S. intentions and could have ramifications for diplomatic relations. Understanding this dynamic is crucial, as it can impact not just policy outcomes but also broader geopolitical stability. 6. The broader economic context. The timing of this consideration is significant as well. In early 2025, the global economy is likely still grappling with the repercussions of the COVID-19 pandemic and the shifts it has caused in international trade and supply chains. A figure like Base, with his focus on economic matters, could bring a fresh perspective to the challenges facing the U.S. economy. His potential appointment might suggest a move towards policies that prioritize economic resilience, particularly in the face of global uncertainties. 7. The influence of financial markets on policy. Lastly, Base's background in hedge funds brings to light the growing intersection between finance and public policy. Financial markets often react to political developments, and having a hedge fund veteran in a key government position could further intertwine market dynamics with policy decisions. This could lead to policies that are more attuned to market signals, potentially prioritizing economic indicators over traditional political considerations. The significance of this shift lies in its potential to reshape how policies are crafted and implemented, possibly leading to a more reactive governance style that aligns closely with market fluctuations. In conclusion, the consideration of Kyle Bass for a role in the Treasury or Defense Department is layered with implications that extend beyond his views on China. His investment expertise, potential influence on national security, and the broader economic context all contribute to the significance of this potential appointment. Recognizing these factors is essential for understanding the future trajectory of U.S. policies and their impact on global dynamics. 1. Profile of Kyle Bass. Kyle Bass's extensive background in finance, particularly his successful predictions regarding the housing market crisis, positions him as a significant figure in investment circles. His critical stance on China, advocating for tough economic policies and strategic countermeasures, aligns well with roles that demand a strong understanding of global economic dynamics and national security implications. Analyzing his investment strategies and public statements can provide insight into his potential impact on U.S. financial policies and foreign relations, particularly regarding China. 2. Administration's direction. The Trump administration's consideration of Bass reflects a broader strategy that prioritizes a confrontational approach to China, emphasizing national security and economic competitiveness. This shift in policy direction signifies a willingness to adopt aggressive measures against perceived threats which could reshape U.S.-China relations. An in-depth discussion on how such appointments signal a change in U.S. foreign policy could help understand the implications for global markets and alliances. 3. Common themes. The consensus on Bass's qualifications and alignment with hawkish views on China suggests he could play a crucial role in shaping U.S. policy towards China, particularly in trade and economic sanctions. Exploring these common themes across various sources can illuminate the potential for continuity in the administration's hardline stance and the broader implications for U.S. international relations, trade policies, and economic strategies moving forward. 4. Differences in coverage. The variation in how different outlets portray Bass's potential appointment reveals differing editorial focuses and angles on the significance of this development. Bloomberg's straightforward reporting contrasts with Yahoo's emphasis on Bass's financial expertise and criticisms of China. Examining these differences can aid in understanding media framing of political appointments and their potential impact on public perception of U.S. foreign policy and economic strategies. 1. Henry Kissinger in China. Opening 1971 to 1972. Henry Kissinger, serving as the National Security Advisor and later Secretary of State under President Nixon, played a pivotal role in reshaping U.S.-China relations during the early 1970s. Kissinger's secret trip to China in 1971 set the stage for Nixon's historic visit in 1972, opening diplomatic channels with the People's Republic of China. This strategic engagement was aimed at counterbalancing Soviet influence during the Cold War. But it also marked a significant pivot in U.S. foreign policy towards China, which had profound economic and geopolitical implications. 2. Paul Volcker and the Federal Reserve. 1979 to 1987. Paul Volcker, known for his role as chairman of the Federal Reserve, implemented aggressive monetary policies to combat the high inflation of the late 1970s and early 1980s. Volcker's policies included raising interest rates dramatically, which led to a recession but eventually stabilized the U.S. economy. His tenure is often cited as a pivotal moment in U.S. economic policy, demonstrating how leadership in financial institutions can shape national economic strategies, akin to how a potential appointment of someone like Kyle Bass could influence contemporary economic relations with China. 3. Robert Zoellick and the WTO. 2001. Robert Zoellick, serving as the U.S. Trade Representative and later as President of the World Bank, was instrumental in China's accession to the World Trade Organization (WTO) in 2001. This decision was part of a broader strategy to integrate China into the global trading system, with the expectation that engagement would lead to reform within China. Zoellick's role exemplifies how high-ranking officials can significantly influence U.S. foreign economic policy, similar to the potential impact that Kyle Bass could have on U.S.-China relations if appointed to a position of authority. The potential appointment of Kyle Bass to a significant role within the Trump administration, particularly in the Treasury or Defense Department, signals a continuation of the administration's hawkish stance towards China. Here are some predictions and implications for the future based on this development. 1. Increased tensions with China. If Bass is appointed, we can expect a further escalation in U.S.-China tensions. His history of criticizing China's economic practices suggests that he would advocate for more aggressive policies, potentially leading to new sanctions or trade restrictions aimed at curbing China's influence globally. 2. National security focus. Bass's position would likely prioritize national security concerns, particularly regarding technology and cybersecurity. We may see an increase in measures to protect U.S. intellectual property and counter Chinese technological advancements, potentially resulting in a more fragmented global tech landscape. 3. Economic policy shifts. His experience in hedge funds could lead to a shift in economic policy that emphasizes financial strategies to counteract China's economic might. This might include initiatives to bolster U.S. manufacturing or incentivize domestic production to reduce dependency on Chinese supply chains. 4. Impact on global markets. The appointment of a prominent hedge fund manager like Bass could lead to volatility in global markets, particularly in sectors heavily influenced by U.S.-China relations. Investors might react to potential policy shifts with heightened caution affecting stock prices and investment strategies across the board. 5. Bipartisan support or opposition. While there may be bipartisan agreement on the need to adopt a tougher stance on China, Bass's controversial views could polarize opinions within Congress. His appointment might face scrutiny from those who advocate for a more diplomatic approach, complicating the administration's ability to pass related legislation. 6. Regional implications. Bass's influence could extend to U.S. relationships with allies in the Asia-Pacific region. Countries like Japan, South Korea, and Australia may align more closely with U.S. policies under his guidance, leading to strengthened alliances against Chinese expansionism, particularly in the South China Sea. 7. Long-term strategic planning. The administration may focus on long-term strategies to counteract China's Belt and Road Initiative and other global investments. This could involve increasing foreign aid to developing nations to provide alternatives to Chinese investments, fostering goodwill and stronger diplomatic ties. 8. Public sentiment and domestic politics. The selection of a figure like Bass may resonate with certain voter demographics concerned about national security and economic competition with China. This could impact the political landscape leading into future elections, with potential ramifications for both Republican and Democratic candidates. 9. Potential for policy overhaul. Bass's appointment could lead to a comprehensive review of existing policies related to trade, defense, and foreign investment. Expect significant changes to regulations governing foreign investments in critical infrastructure, technology, and other strategic sectors. 10. Influence on future administrations. Regardless of the outcome of the 2024 elections, Bass's potential role may set a precedent for how future administrations approach China. A hardline stance may become the norm, influencing U.S. foreign policy for years to come. In summary, the consideration of Kyle Bass for a key role within the Trump administration reflects a broader trend towards a more aggressive posture against China. If appointed, his influence could reshape U.S. policy in significant ways, affecting both domestic and international dynamics. The long-term implications of such an appointment could resonate well beyond the immediate political landscape, impacting global relations, market stability, and strategic alliances for years to come.